All right. Hi, everyone. I am Genevieve from Australian metal band Temtris, and we're releasing our seventh album, Khaos Divine, on the 17th of March.
Beautiful. That's right, Genevieve. Thanks for joining us again this evening.
Awesome for you to have us to chat again, Kris.
My
Thank you.
absolute pleasure, my dear. So, as you mentioned, Temtris will release your seventh studio album, Khaos Divine, this Friday, March the 17th. So, I know that you put a lot of work into this. There's been a lot of promo, a lot of planning and stuff. So, how are you feeling? Is it you're relieved? You're excited? You're nervous?
We always get nervous before a show. We really love to put on the best performance we can. And so we are nervous about it, but I actually sent out pre-sales this week and last week, and everyone's been receiving their copies of the album, even though it's not technically out till Friday. And they've pretty much yesterday and today, my phone's been going off with people just messaging me saying how much they love the album. So that's made us really happy, because you want your fans that follow you to be the ones that get the most out of it. And with those guys happy and saying it's gone better, it's better than even the last album, that's what we want to hear. And that's all that really matters in the end.
Yeah, good stuff. So we've got a lot to talk about here. So we'll start off on the music side of things. So what were you going for musically with Khaos Divine?
Look, we wanted to modernize our sound a little bit. We wanted it to be a bit fresh. And I think we've done that even in the mix. It's quite a modern mix. It's quite clear and fresh for what we've done on previous albums. We've always had a bit of a gritty sound with our other albums, but even the reviewers are saying, the vocals are crystal clear and they're really liking that. That what we've got in the mix. So I think we've really reached what we wanted to portray. It's still got our traditional Temtris sound, but there's something different about it, and there's something fresh about it. And I think it's that little modern tweak we've done with the songwriting that's really helped to get the story across, and it matches the concept. So we are very happy with that feedback.
Yeah. And there's a large blending of metal genres. You got everything there from thrash to hard rock to power metal to just plain heavy metal. So was it always intended to cover so many styles, or did it sort of more come about as you went?
Yeah, every album, Temtris, we don't ever box. I mean, we call ourselves heavy metal, but every album we've got one thrash song on it. We have always done that, and we've always got we use whatever genre we need to write or to convey the emotion of the music. So we don't box ourselves in. And I think that's what helps us write new music that sounds fresh and new each time with each album, because we don't just go, we're a power metal band, we have to do this. We don't restrict ourselves in that sense when it comes to songwriting.
So along those lines, though, like you don't restrict yourself when it comes to songwriting, but like when you come to one particular song, like will you go into that and will you say like, we want this one to be a thrash one and write it accordingly, or does that...
Yeah. This album, Ground Zero, is the thrash song on this album, and that's what we do. We set out to write a thrash track, and it will be that. But then you've got Eternal Death Machine, like I said previously, has that black metal picking intro. That just came together because the song needed something, and I went, how about you boys try this on it? And it works. So, yeah, it's not always locked in, but sometimes we do go for that defined, this is a thrash track and this is what we want. So I would say with the previous album, like Ritual Warfare, that was definitely, we had a desire to write a fast album with that one. So the songs are a lot faster in that sense. But with this album, it was, the music had to match the story and the emotion we were conveying. So yeah, we definitely didn't box ourselves in. But that final track, Ground Zero, was set to be a thrash song because it was about everything exploding. So it suits it.
Accomplished. Some of your vocals on the album, mate, like they're out of this world. But what stood out for me was the way that you used the highs more for effect rather than overdoing your strength. Like, was it difficult to show that restraint? Because like you can do it, and it'd be easy to do it all the time and have it as a go-to. But when you just use it sparingly, it's definitely a lot better.
You know what? I actually was worried I didn't do enough this album, and people would say, because with all my other albums, I've got big scream intros and scream outros, but for this one, I just wanted to be, I pulled back a bit, and I actually did that for touring as well, because it is not easy on the voice, singing those high notes night after night. Your voice doesn't like punishing you with that. And when you're on stage, it's totally different to singing at rehearsal. It's loud, you got a drum kit and amps blaring, and you often can't hear very well. The foldback's never as good as what you think it's going to be. So I did deliberately pull back. And that's another thing reviewers have said. They really like the fact that I haven't overdone it this time. It's just come out where it's needed. And I guess that's, for me, it's a learning curve to go, okay, maybe I don't need to push as hard. Maybe I can ride that because I have got a big range and I have got a low register as well. So maybe I need to ride that low register some more and actually just pop out those highs occasionally and shock people. I don't know. It worked this time, so maybe I need to do it more often.
It'd be nice if there's an easy blueprint like that, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be great.
And lyrically, Khaos Divine has a highly interesting concept throughout the song. So can you run us through that concept and how it develops over the course of the album?
Yeah, look, the whole album is based around this world, Khaos Divine. And chaos, as I've said to people, is spelt with a K because that is about a god. And the god Khaos does not care for his people. So that's basically where we came with the K spelling. But in this world, people are living under a contract where they sign away their life. They get a drug that helps them live almost eternally. And that means that they can then continue working for the government, make their money for the government, become slaves. They don't need to sleep as much. They will be around to see their loved ones, but is it really living when you are constantly slaving away at work all the time? So that's the basis of the story. And then we've got our main character, Ember, who is working for this government, and her and her partner decide to leave, and that is where the songs come through. She's working with the company and taking the drug and doing everything she needs to do, and then her and her partner decide to leave, and then throughout the story she loses her partner and decides to take revenge. So it basically starts off with this, people just slogging it out, and they decide, fuck it, we've had enough, and that's how a lot of people feel these days. They're just walking from their jobs because they're sick of slaving their asses off and getting nowhere. And that's sort of how we went with this theme, but this is a little bit more extreme, where you're literally, once you sign that contract, you're in and you can't leave. And that's basically what's happened in this story. So she decides to end everything since the contract can't be cut.
Very cool. And as we said earlier, this is your 7th album. So is it the first time you've gone down the concept path?
Yeah, we have always had, each album's had a theme and a slight concept. Enter the Asylum, it wasn't a concept album as such, but every song on that album, we wrote about a patient in a room. So each patient had a story to tell in that room of the asylum. So we've always done that with albums, and that helps me write when I need to come up with lyrics. If I've got an idea about an actual concept, and when I come up with the story for the album and the artwork and the photos, I like to put it all together. I want it to all be a complete story. And that's what I love about CDs. When you open it, it tells a story. So that's with this one, when we decided to come up with a concept, I said to Fox, how are we going to show people this story, that want to know about it? So that's why we decided to make those cards that I've been selling for people that buy the album off us. They can get the story cards, and it actually has each song on it and a part of the story on the cards for each song, so they understand what's going on. You only get them if you buy stuff through me.
Cool. And how do they do that if anyone's listening and they want to do that?
Well, they can message the Temtris page or myself on Facebook, and they can also jump on the website and shoot us a message on there, and we can organise it. So yeah, it's just a little special treat we sort of put together for our main fans. I will have the cards available on tour also, so if people want to buy them with the album, they can. So they'll be able to get them at a show on the next few months while we're plodding around the country.
Weird. And the album opens with a surprising instrumental piece called The Grand Design. So what was the thought process behind it? Like, I know when I reviewed the album, it threw me completely. Like, I heard all this stuff about your vocals with it and how it was, there was a vocally driven album, and then start off with an instrumental. It's clever.
Yeah, look, a lot of our albums, we have done that. That's been a bit of a Temtris thing, and not everyone likes intros in albums, but that is just something we do. And we wanted to set the stone. That intro piece is to basically sort of describe looking out at the world and what it's meant to be, this amazing place and this, grand land, but underneath it, it's actually quite a dirty and corrupt world. So that's sort of the introduction. It leads you in to its web. Yeah.
Right in. And from there it goes into the 2 singles released, Khaos Divine and Eternal Death Machine. So would you say that those 2 songs are a good sonic representation of the album as a whole?
Yeah, look, they are. But it's funny because we've had a few people say that they think the album even picks up more as it goes along, even though those 2 tracks are quite heavy and fast. There's a lot of emotion in this album, so we've got a slower song even in the middle of it. So we try and take people on this whole emotional musical journey. So you can't just write off what you hear on those first 2 tracks, but it's definitely it gives you a good ear for what the mix is going to be like and what the story and the music is going to be like. But there's so much more in there. I think once you listen, you go on this whole complete journey with it. And it's probably even better for people that have got the story cards to read along with it and actually understand what the lyrics are about as well. So we like telling a complete story with our stuff and taking people on a bit of a get out of your world. And that's what's so good about music, isn't it? Forget about the shit that's happening in your own life. So
lost in it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you release the singles in the order that they are on the album, does that mean that you necessarily have to listen to the album in chronological order to be able to get the full effect?
Look, I would definitely recommend it's listened to that way. I mean, every band that puts together an album usually pieces songs together in an order because it works and the music flows that way. So I mean, we've done that because the music flows that way, but because it is a story as well and a tale. So I guess, I mean, I've got these songs on my phone randomly that I listen to all the time to rehearse to, but as a punter, I would say, yes, you need to listen to it from the beginning to the end, or especially for the first couple of times. Otherwise, you're going to be like, maybe not understand the flow of what we've done emotionally with the music. So,
yeah. How does that translate in the live arena? Like, because you're obviously not going to play the whole album every time you go out there and play live. So when you take in select cuts off it to play, how does that go? Like, do they feel disjointed in a way because they're not going through with the whole story, or?
Yeah, it'll be interesting because at the moment for the tour, we are playing this album from start to finish.
Okay, cool.
So anyone that comes to our show or tour shows will see the album from start to finish. Oh. Sydney, like I said, you're going to get a treat with Nadi on the piano. And we're going to play that whole album, and it's going to be hopefully delivered across pretty special. We've got a few plans for the night as well, surprises, especially for Sydney. So when we go, like I said, we've announced a tour recently to go overseas. Those people may want to hear some, stuff from other albums because they haven't had a chance to see us before. So that's where we've got to decide which tracks do we pull out and play for people amongst the other albums, I guess. And that's going to be the difficult thing to do. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough choice because when you got 7 albums, it's hard enough to pick.
That's right. We'll worry about that one later. So speaking of live shows, like you head out on tour starting the day of the album drops on March 17. So you start in Sydney. We're going through Wollongong, Gold Coast, Canberra, Brisbane, Adelaide, and finish in Perth on May the 27th. So it's a pretty extensive run of dates.
Yeah, look, I wanted to put in as many as I could. I even had an extra date in Sydney, sort of for Western Sydney originally, and that venue got shut down. So I lost even one date from there. And of course, you always want to do more as a band, but it's really hard. You put so much money into an album and wanting good production and good recording and good product to sell everybody. Touring's not cheap these days. And in Australia, as you know, for us to fly to Perth is going to cost us a small fortune, but we've never played there before. So we're sort of, those sort of shows you're paying to play in a sense, but if you want to reach a new market, that's just what you have to do. And that's part of, I mean, in the end for us, it's like a bit of a working weekend because we get to do what we love and meet new people and hopefully get new fans along the way. So I think it's worth it.
When you say with the show that you're playing the album from start to finish, like the album has got a bit of a spacey sort of a theme. So you guys is there gonna be visuals to go along with it? Like are you dressing up and trying to recreate the atmosphere?
No, look, we will be wearing, you know, everyone has their look on stage, and pretty much what you see in the photos is what you get. I would love to, like, I usually wear the outfit that I do my film clips and stuff in. Although this weekend I hear it's going to be 36 degrees, and I'm not sure wearing full latex might work.
Oh, you get it on, but you might not get it off.
It'll be like a wetsuit. So I'm sort of tossing up that one to see what the weather does on Friday.
It was bloody hot up here.
But I have got a nice little prop to bring on stage on Friday night. So everyone will have to wait and see what that is.
Very cool. And where does people find out more information about this tour and get tickets from?
Look, you can jump on the Temtris website, Temtris Facebook page. You have all the events set up there. Wonderful Heavy Mags jumped on as a host. So you should be hearing about the events everywhere, and just come out. Like, we have the best crowd at our show. We've got this big metal family, and it just keeps growing, and they're the best people. They just come out. They like to have some drinks, have some fun. Everyone backs each other. Everyone looks after each other. Like, it's just such a great time. And if you want to come and join the Temtris crew and family, I tell you, you're not going to regret it, because we keep getting new people all the time. It's getting bigger and better. So definitely won't regret jumping on and coming to an event. That's for sure.
Beautiful. You won me over for sure. And you dropped this before too, but you're going overseas later this year for the first time. So tell us about that. Look,
something I've been worked on previous albums, and then of course COVID came and it threw it all under a bus and never happened. But this time we were determined to get over there and make it happen. So I reached out to my record company, and they gave me some contacts, and I've actually got a couple of dates locked in for the UK in September, and then I'm currently finalising dates through at the moment. Looks like we've got Belgium, Switzerland, and dates in Germany. So yeah, we're hoping to build off that, but we'll see. I mean, we're planning on heading over there for about 3 weeks, so it's going to be a lot of fun. No more magical viruses are allowed to appear.
not till next year anyway. All right, Genevieve. Well, thanks very much for your time. It's been a pleasure as always. The album Khaos Divine is out this Friday, March 17th, and you've got an album launch show in Sydney at the Bridge Hotel, I believe, on the same night.
Yeah, Bridge Hotel, Roselle. Got some great bands. Got young band Valiant on, thrash band, and also Envenomed all the way from Melbourne, who are awesome. So come and hang out with everyone, and the ticket sales have been really good, and I think it's going to be a great night. So yeah, come and hang out and have some fun with us all. It'd be a good night for a beer if it's 36 degrees.
Oh yeah, it'd be great drinking weather, mate. And I shall see you at one or both of your Brisbane and Gold Coast shows. But in the meantime, congratulations on the album. She is an absolute cracker, mate. Very well done. So you guys should be proud of it.
Thank you so much, Kris. Appreciate it.
Beneath this facade